Actually, that was one of those dream films that somebody comes to you and say, "Here's all this money. Would you do this film on Picasso?" It was not. It didn't come from me. There was big Picasso retrospective that was going to be done at MoMA. In those days, I was more or less on staff at Channel 13, getting ideas, coming up with proposals. So I sat down and did a proposal, and I wanted to have the voiceover narration. It would be based mainly on what Picasso himself had said, and his closest friend who did this famous book on Picasso. And Jaime Sabartes was his name. And he was his pal, his very close friend from back in the Barcelona days. And I decided I want somebody with a sense of drama. And I wanted a writer who could make it dramatic. And then I told him the people that I wanted to interview, people that I had planned to interview to cover the important sections, the important sequences of his life. And they were, just marvelous. We interviewed his daughter, Paloma Picasso, who was marvelous on camera. And Paloma's talking about him and women. She says he wanted everything, One minute he wanted one thing, and one minute he wanted something else. And it was very difficult to be Picasso's woman. If you're doing the career of somebody like Picasso, and he lived a long time, and he went through so many different phases, and so that no matter how many books you have on Picasso, there's always something new. You have to know this much to be able to do good this much. And I have been told that I have, outside, of course, of museums and universities, obviously, but for a private collection, that I have one of the best private collections in this country. One of the nice things about the Picasso film, of course, was that I got to shoot not only in Paris and the south of France, but in Mallorca, because did a very important, wonderful interview with Juan Miro, and this is me and Miro holding hands in Mallorca, in his studio in Mallorca. He was very cooperative. He was having a wonderful time. He loved talking about Picasso, and he liked having all these younger women around. And his wife kept saying, you're straining yourself, and he would, brush her away. He was enjoying himself. Miro said something very, very important about Picasso. He said, Picasso opened the doors. Before Picasso, he said, we did not have the courage to do the kind of things that once Picasso had done them. There was a freedom that he gave to artists. One of course, Picasso's greatest paintings, of course, is the Guernica. And the Guernica was at MoMA. And so I was able to shoot it, and I had seen some wonderful film of the bombing of Madrid. I was able to shoot Picasso and details of the Picasso film, and then cut away from the woman who is tearing at this kerchief, and this, feeling of horror and terror on her face, to a woman carrying her baby, during the bombing. Toward the end of the sequence, I felt there was a point at which there really was, even music would be too much. And the experience of being in the museum and looking at the painting, nobody is talking to you, nobody's playing music there, that the picture itself holds you, and why not do it? And there's something very funny about silence when you're making a film. You have to have a certain amount of courage just to have silence. We ended with just the pan across the painting, with no sound at all.